A long time ago, deep in a place known as the Forbidden Forest, lived Ayunda the witch, and her neighbors, Risu the squirrel girl, and her parents, Okayu and Korone. They lived secluded, far from reach, as they chose to stay away from humans to avoid trouble. Humans fear the unknown, such as Ayunda's powers and the other magical beings. Luckily, Ayunda and the others could live happily in the forest. As a witch, Ayunda possessed powerful magic, yet was physically frail. Risu and her family aided her in gathering things like food and herbs for spells, and Ayunda would use her magic to return their kindness. Risu was making her way through the forest, as she did most days, diligently inspecting and collecting herbs, when suddenly the sound of a large commotion interrupted her work. Something was getting closer. Her instincts told her to hide immediately. From her hiding place, Risu heard the mob's chatter.
Let's get the witch.
It's her fault that all crops fail.
Curse witch!
The witch's heart is nearby. Ready your weapons and torches. We're gonna get rid of her.
Risu ran even faster, the forest around her lighting up in a blaze. As she approached her house, she coughed on the smoke pouring from the forest fire. She arrived just as Okayu and Korone were directing the forest evacuation. The three of them worked together, not noticing the burning arrow which struck their wooden house. A rain of flaming arrows quickly followed that arrow. Korone did what she could to swat away the arrows with a broom, while Okayu shielded Risu with her body. As the wave of arrows temporarily subsided, Korone turned and grabbed Risu's shoulder.
Listen to me. You need to warn Ayunda. We will buy you time. But what about you?
Risu answered, holding back tears.
Risu, we will be fine. And you're faster than us. You're Ayunda's only hope right now,
Korone said. Risu swallowed her protest. She understood what Korone was saying. Korone held out the broom. Risu snatched the broom for protection and sprinted towards Ayunda's hut as Korone and Okayu ran in the opposite direction, tears streaming down Risu's face as she ran. Risu burst through the door to her home, panting. Ayunda greeted her, confused.
What is going on, Risu? Where are Korone and Okayu?
Humans! Coming! Okayu and Korone holding up.
Risu,
Ayunda said.
Calm down and tell me exactly what happened.
Risu quickly explained what was happening. Ayunda gasped, but quickly regained her composure and smiled warmly at Risu. The noise outside grew louder. Ayunda peered out the window. The humans were surrounding the house, brandishing their torches and pitchforks. Ayunda coughed.
What bad timing.
That's them! The humans from before. But where are Korone and Okayu?
Said Risu. Ayunda immediately set to work. She pulled out a huge book from her shelf. Flipping it open, she pointed to the circular pattern on the page.
Risu, I need you to draw this.
After giving Risu her instructions, Ayunda went to meet the humans outside. Risu drew the pattern carefully, straining to ignore the noises outside. Ayunda had asked this of her, and she refused to let her down. Ayunda was scary when she was angry. In spite of her efforts, she could not resist peeking. Outside, the bushes and trees moved wildly. The humans scattered. That was Ayunda's magic. Risu knew it well. After another moment, Ayunda returned. Ayunda closed the door, infusing it with magic. She coughed heavily and spat up blood.
Ayunda! What happened?
Risu asked.
Have you finished the magic circle?
Ayunda replied. Risu nodded. Ayunda grabbed her hand and guided her to the circle. Ayunda took an acorn-shaped gem, identical to the one on her necklace. With a muttered spell, the acorn began to glow. She hung it around Risu's neck.
Risu,
Ayunda spoke softly.
listen to me. No matter what happens, I will always be by your side.
Without waiting for Risu's reply, Ayunda cast another spell. Risu looked around, unsure of what was happening. Outside, a fire had surrounded the house, but she felt no heat. It was as if the circle was protecting her. The circle began to glow. Ayunda coughed blood once again, but Risu knew that she should not and would not stop her now. Eventually, Ayunda's spell faded to a whisper, and then silence. She took Risu into her arms, pressing her forehead against Risu's. Both their necklaces began to glow. The circle's glow intensified, filling the room with a blinding light.
I love you, Risu.
Ayunda whispered. The bright glow disappeared, and Risu was alone. No Ayunda, no circle, no house, no fire, no forest, no mob. The world around her had changed. She looked around in equal parts confusion and amazement. This place was like nothing she had ever seen. There were lots of tall houses, adorned with color.
Ayunda? Korone? Okayu?
Risu said.
Where are you? Where am I?
Instinctively, she clutched her necklace. Immediately, she was aware of something. Her hand was different.
What happened to my hands? They're human?
Through her confusion, Risu noticed that she was not, in fact, alone. She was surrounded by humans. Shocked, she leapt to her feet and ran, and ran, and ran. Panic grew. She was not running like herself. This didn't feel like her body. She stopped at the base of an enormous glass house, glancing into its mirror-like finish. She gasped.
Ayunda?
She couldn't believe what she was seeing. Her reflection was not her own, but Ayunda's. She touched her face, confirming that it was, in fact, her reflection. She stumbled back in shock, colliding with a paint-covered girl. The papers the girl was carrying tumbled around them. With a muttered apology, Risu fled.
Eh? Was that a tail?
Risu kept running, distancing herself from crowds. Everything that had happened left her wary. She refused to let Ayunda's sacrifice be for nothing. Eventually, Risu collapsed. Everywhere she looked, there was something scary and new. It was exhausting. As she lay on the ground catching her breath, a purple-haired young woman approached.
Are you okay?
Asked the girl, offering Risu her hand. Risu took her hand and stood up.
What a cute cosplay.
Continued the girl.
Ghost?
Risu's stomach grumbled as she spoke.
Ah, are you hungry? Here. Cosplay events can be hectic. It's easy to forget to eat.
Risu took the sandwich that the girl was offering with unease. She took a cautious bite, but immediately spat it out. She fled once more in a panic.
Not a fan of spicy food, eh?
Said the girl. Finally, Risu stopped at a less crowded place, curling up in an alleyway. She was hungry. She was cold. She started crying.
Where am I? Where is everyone?
A few hours passed. With gentle footsteps, a girl approached Risu. She squatted down in front of her.
Oh, you're the girl with the tail that was running around the city before. You look confused. Are you okay?
Asked the girl. Risu couldn't answer.
Who are you? Where is your home?
I don't know.
Risu managed. her stomach grumbling again.
Are you hungry? I've got some nuts. Want some?
Initially, Risu was hesitant, but after a moment, she gave in to her unbearable hunger and accepted them.
Thanks. You can call me Ane-chan.
She said with a gentle smile.
I don't have anywhere to go right now.
Risu said in a weak voice.
You could stay in my place. How about it?
A few weeks later, Risu had grown accustomed to her new world. She learned about the internet and had grown fond of spending hours online.
Another morning spent online, huh?
Said One-chan as she entered the room carrying fresh clothes.
Of course! There's so many amazing things on here. Alright. Just don't forget to get ready. We're going out in an hour. Okay, One-chan.
Risu kept browsing the internet. As she browsed, she stumbled upon a YouTube video titled HoloLive, Okakoro Game Collaboration. She clicked it, her eyes immediately growing wide. She began to cry. Half an hour later, Risu came out of her room. She ran straight to and hugged her One-chan.
Huh? What happened, Risu? Oh no! Hololive!
Risu answered.
Hololive? I want to join Hololive!
Risu shouted, her eyes filled with hope and excitement. And the story continues.